It's episode 99 of Regen Rovers, and it's time for the review of our 10th season in charge of this magnificent club. As usual, I've turned off my face for this review, just so my big head doesn't get in the way of anything. So, it was quite an unbelievable season for Regen Rovers. We are promoted to the Championship, the second tier of English football, and our second attempt at League One. What an achievement. It kind of felt like a bit of an anticlimax in the end, because actually we'd had a worse season last year. Points-wise, we ended up with one less point than last year. We did actually score more goals this season and concede less goals, so our goal difference was much better, much improved, despite the fact we were conceding goals galore at one point towards the start of the season, and I just couldn't seem to get the defence right. We've actually ended up having a better season defensively and a better season offensively. It just feels like we've had a worse season because of the strangeness of everything. I think last year we just weren't expecting anything in League One, and we somehow got 76 points and almost got promoted. This year we had a bit of hope. We had a bit of more expectation, didn't we, to get into the top six. So the fact that we were struggling at times and really just grinding out results, it kind of felt like an anticlimax when we actually got promoted. But let's not let that take away from anything. This has been an incredible achievement from the players, a little bit from me as well, despite messing around with the tactics a bit too much, and from the fans, of course, because you turned up in your droves this season. We ended up with maximum attendance for a lot of games this season. Strangely enough, the last day of the season we had less people than the Peterborough match, and less than quite a few of the other matches this season, which doesn't make any sense. It's the last day of the season. Why wasn't it at full capacity? Never mind, it doesn't really matter, does it? But it really was a very good season. We were unbeaten for 20 games until that last day of the season, and it didn't matter that we lost in the end, because so many other teams screwed up for us this season. It was the gods were on our side. The FM gods were definitely helping us across the line this season, because it was, if you look at the table, very, very close. A lot of teams managed to get to 60 points this season. 15th place, Burton Albion got to 60 points, which is actually the same last season. 14th place managed to get above 60 points, which I suppose last season was pretty close as well in the grand scheme of things. But to be promoted on 75 points is pretty unusual if you go back across the seasons. Most years you have to reach the 80-point margin. Some years even you have to 90 points to get promoted. So this season was a little bit unusual. I think it just shows that this selection of teams were very close together. So going down, Accrington Stanley, Doncaster Rovers, AFC Wimbledon and Chesterfield. We go up with Blackburn Rovers. We're going to continue until the playoffs have been played, so we can see who we will be taking on in the Championship next season. Remember, episode 100's next, and that's going to be like a special video. It will be a mashup of lots of different things across the 10 seasons, basically. I'm in the process of making it. At the time of recording this I'm actually recording this video a few days before I'll upload it. So there is a bit of time for me to get episode 100 sorted before our first season in the Championship, which will be episode 101 of the series. We're getting closer and closer to the promised land of the Premier League, aren't we? It's been quite a journey so far, and it continues. It's brilliant to get to the Championship just before episode 100. I think that just ties up the first 100 episodes nicely. So let's have a look at a few player statistics for League One this season. You can see Gerard Fisher, he was a little bit inconsistent at times, but when he was good, he was very good. He got 7 Man of the Match awards. Spencer Drury actually got 5, despite not scoring a huge number of goals this season, mainly down to injuries, of course. Fuat Kachar was in goal for every single one of the goals that we scored this season. 69 goals in the league. I don't think Sivzelis played a league game this year, which I know some of you are still disappointed about. There's a big group of you that are Lee Sivzelis in fans. You've probably got the flags and the banners up at the stadium supporting Lee Sivzelis, but Fuat Kachar is quite clearly our best goalkeeper on paper. I know football isn't played on paper, but attribute-wise, he is the best, and he will come good. Oh, he was good this year towards the end of the season. He had pretty torrid first half, but when we went a little bit more defensive in the second half of the season and ground out results, it suited him better. He didn't have quite as floppy a defence in front of him. They were actually being pretty solid, protecting him and his goal, and when he was required to make a save, more often than not, he did make a save. He's actually wanted by Brentford and Walsall, but if anyone wants to buy him, they're going to have to pay up. I don't know if he's got I don't think he does have a minimum release fee, actually. And he's only got 1 year left on his contract. So if we do sell him, it's this summer, I think. We do have to offer him a new contract very soon, I think. In fact, what does he want now? He wants to be a key player, which is fair enough. Oh, he wants 3k a year, which would be our biggest contract by a long way. But remember, we are going up to the Championship now, and we have to pay big money to keep these players at the club and entice players to the club as well, I suppose. But he wants a lot to stay at Regen Rovers. He also wants quite a low minimum fee release clause, which I'm not happy about. I don't mind relegation release clause. If we get relegated next season, it'll be a blow. But there we go. He wants only a 2-year contract, 3-year contract for that, I think, just to protect our asset that is Fuat Kachar. If he doesn't want this, then we're going to have to... He wants £3,500 a week. He only wants a 2-year contract. But if he doesn't want this, we might have to sell him. Then again, can we find a better goalkeeper than Fuat Kachar, or someone similar to his ability for the same amount of money? Probably not. So it's kind of worth paying him the money. Let's suggest that. He still wants... I want him 3 years just to protect him. Let's go down to 3.1. Okay, well, you can have a 2-year contract, but you're going to have to earn that much. That's fine. So 2.9k a week. It's a lot of money. There's an appearance fee and a clean sheet bonus on top of that. But we've managed to get him down quite a bit. And it's only a 2-year contract. But perhaps we will sell him anyway. And if another team comes in with a big bid, then I think we're going to have to think about it at the very least. Anyway, you can see here, that is a brilliant news article to see. Promoted to the Championship, 2nd place in League One. And the board will be giving us £1.07 million next year and a much improved wage budget as well. Currently, we are paying a fair amount. We're paying 32 grand, which was not far behind I think it was about £38,000 a week in wages. So we had increased quite a bit. I've been given contracts to players like Spencer Drury, like Craig Palmer, that are on League One standard contracts now. Probably lower League One standard contracts, to be fair. But we're going to have to be paying bigger wages in the Championship. And 2.9k a week for Fuat Kachar in the Championship, that is nothing really. But we're still a small club in the grand scheme of things. We've got to the Championship, we've got a small stadium. The fan base, although you are marvellous, it's still relatively small, isn't it? In a way, it's getting smaller as the series progresses with less views. But yeah, that's the way YouTube goes. But we will have some money to spend. And I've not really spent it in the past, have I? I've spent hardly anything to get to this point. I've worked with what we have. And I'm pretty proud of my achievements. But we might have to spend a little bit of money. Everyone's just going crazy about me. Making me blush, guys. 10.59k for achieving 2nd place in League One is like, that's nothing, isn't it? I think you get another chunk of money for taking part in League One, but you can see the finances have vanished. What? Where have they all gone? We've got £7,936 in the bank. And it's not, we've actually made a profit so far this month. They've literally just vanished. Have they just pumped the rest of that money into the... No, but the transfer budget's not actually a separate bank account or anything. It's comes out of this. So if you spent £1 million, we'd be £1 million in debt, I think. So let's have a look at the squad then. Just have a look at some of the statistics. Last season, there were some real standout players. This year, less so. Spencer Drury, of course, managed to get 25 goals last year, but he was injury prone this year. Craig Palmer was our standout man, I suppose. As always, please vote for your player of the season in the comment section below. I can only really think of one player, and that is Craig Palmer. But let's have a look to see some other statistics. You can see Fuat Kachar made the most starts this season, but Jared Fisher actually appeared in 51 games, one more than Kachar. Mohamed Garba was also ever present in the team this season. His first season back at Regen Rovers as a Regen Rovers player, not on loan. He played well, actually. relatively consistent throughout the season, was never spectacular, but didn't really have any terrible games. I didn't realise Gerard Fisher appeared in that many games though. Goals wise then, Craig Palmer clearly was top goal scorer, 21 goals, finally reversing his usual pattern of getting more assists than goals. This year he got 21 goals and 12 assists, which actually incidentally was the highest number of assists as well out of any player. So he had a fantastic year with us. 6.98 average rating as well, not as high as some of our players, but still impressive. Larry Udder was second top scorer with 13, Spencer Drury with 12 despite being injured for large portions of the season, and Francis Arthur Owusu, the man's name I say about 500 times an episode. He scored 11 goals, so it was good to see him get over 10 goals this season. I was hopeful that Colin McGuigan would get plus 10 goals, but it wasn't meant to be in his first year at the club. He's still very young, he's 20 years old, he has potential to be a very important player for us, as does Francis Arthur Owusu. For some reason, Spencer Drury's ability has dropped. It was 3.5 stars. It does vary. It depends on things and who is being your assistant manager. And in fact, I think I forgot to mention this. We do have a new assistant manager. I think I put it on Twitter. Or maybe I did mention it. I can't remember. Shane Andrew, who was a coach at the club, is now our assistant manager, promoting him to the assistant manager role. So maybe his idea of a player is slightly different to others. Apparently, Francis Arthur Owusu is our best player, our best striker, anyway, current ability-wise. At the end of the day, it's the player that bangs in the most goals that's the most important player up front, and that has been Craig Palmer this season. So assist-wise, Craig Palmer was top with 12. Mohamed Garba, Dibba and Drury all picked up 7 assists. Mohamed Garba possibly could be on the poll on Twitter for Player of the Season award. He's done well. But once again, Patrick Dibba, decent average rating, a few assists, 3 goals. He didn't play as many games this season, didn't start as many games this season, had a few injuries as well. But he's been so consistent over the years, despite never really improving much, attribute-wise. He's always stayed at about this level ever since he joined the team 5 seasons ago. But look at his average ratings. That first year was actually his worst one, 6.88 overall. But the following season, 6.95. Then in the third season, that was his best year, with a 7.06 average rating. He scored 9 goals in that promotion season from League 2. Last year 6.96, and this year actually improved, 6.98. So well done to Patrick Dibba. He's been incredibly consistent over the years. Other players to pick up assists then, Francis Arthur Owusu, Ollie Barber, who was fantastic in the second part of the season. He's just come alive, hasn't he? Larry Udder also managed to get 6 assists. And then Tim Green, despite having a pretty poor season average rating wise and having to fill in for Stephen Dean when he was injured, he did pick up 5 assists, which is a lot more than Stephen Dean, who only managed 1 this year. So Tim Green, I think he's been known for his assists over the years rather than his defensive work for the team, I suppose. Man of the match wise, Gerard Fisher played very well, 7 man of the match awards, Spencer Drury with 5. And Jonathan Edwards, shout out to him, he had a really good second half of the season himself. Possibly contender for player of the season, despite only playing 24 starts and 1 sub appearance this year. Eamon Lynch, out on loan by the way, had a really good season with Oldham Athletic in the Vanarama National League. 7.31 average rating in the league. 7 man of the match awards, 2 assists, 3 goals. I'm impressed. He could come back and be a first team player. Possibly. The only problem I find is there any players in this team that are good enough for the Championship? Possibly Furt Kachar, possibly Stephen Dean or Northern Irish right back. But I don't know about anyone else. Apparently Booty has a good current ability, but he didn't show it here, did he? He is actually improving as a player, but he's not shown it on the pitch. His contract is expiring at Nottingham Forest. If they release him, do I go for him? He didn't impress this year, but maybe next year he would. It could be a risk worth taking, but I don't know. There's a lot of different questions I have to ask in pre-season. I'm not going to do a pre-season special, by the way, this year. We did one last year, so it's a little bit overkill doing it this year as well. I know a lot of you enjoyed that and would like to see that every year, but it's I probably don't have the time to do that this year because I'm going to be focusing on episode 100 and editing that. And if I've got 2 big episodes and 2 time-consuming things to sort out, then the episodes after that won't be as regular, and I think you'd prefer to have regular Regen Rovers episodes. Average rating wise then, top was actually 2 of our players out on loan, Lynch and Vidia, who I didn't think would be very good, but he's done okay at our affiliate, Kingstonian. I know they play in the National League South, but they finished third. He helped them to a third place finish. This is only good news for us, really. They didn't qualify for the playoff final, but to do so well is really good news. But our best player was actually Jonathan Edwards with that 7.08. Was injured for the last day of the season, of course, which probably had an impact on us, and that's maybe a reason why we lost against Accrington Stanley. But I'm really impressed with him. He just was so solid when he came into the team. 3 Man of the Match awards, 7.11 average rating in the league, 7.38 over the entire season, including under 23 performances, I suppose that is. Really, really pleasing stuff from him, and he's only 20 years old. He's going to be 21 in the summer. Could he be our main man next year at centre-back? We've kind of forgotten about Danny Bye and Reece Walker because of the likes of Edwards, and Fisher put in some very good performances. He did have some poor performances at the start of the season, but when we turned to more solid tactics, he was much better. Ollie Barber as well, 7.01. Only Edwards, Barber and Glenn Bogey, he only played 6 games for us, but impressed at the end of the season, managed to get over a 7 average rating this season. Ollie Barber, though, I love this guy now. I think you guys do too. You've warmed to him. Scored 5 goals this season. Scored a few in the under-23s as well. 2 league goals, 3 FA Cup goals, quite a few assists, good average rating. I'm very pleased with him because he's finally come good after a couple years out on loan at York City. The contract's expiring this summer then, so we have to make some decisions on Tim Green, Brady Chick, Joe Mohammed, Paddy Murray, Kevin Miguel, Carlos Vidia. There's a few players to make decisions about. Then there's Owen Hogg, Booty and Glenn Bogey. Their contracts are expiring at their respective clubs. Glenn Bogey really was impressive in the last few days, wasn't he? Perhaps I should be bringing him in. But at the same time, he's 25 years old. He's not going to be good enough for the Championship. Chesterfield, who finished bottom of League One, didn't want to play him. Perhaps it was just a fluky good spell at our club. I don't know. Value-wise, Craig Palmer is now worth the most money after his impressive season this year. 400k, along with Larry Udder. I suppose Palmer's got 2 years left on his contract, so that helps. Spencer Drury's actually worth less. That's really strange. Spencer Drury was magnificent last year, and I'd say he was good this year, apart from the fact he got some injuries. But suddenly his value's dropped. Okay, then, this is what we like to see. Overall best 11 things, and Player of the Season awards. So this is our best 11 ever at the club. So Sivzelis is still in goal, but Philip Kachar's not even on the bench yet. Grant Waugh's still on the bench, but we've got the 4-3-3 tactic. It's finally changed to that, so he must have played the most games using this tactic now. But he's got Lofts at right back, who of course left the club this season and has gone to Stevenage. Danny Bye and Reece Walker. Danny Bye has broken 300 games for the club. 323 games he's now played for Regen Rovers, which is very impressive. Reece Walker's on 287. Stuart Warren's still the left back. Where is he now? He's at Altrincham. He's still playing. He left Blackpool, went to Altrincham. He's done okay. In the middle, we've got Christian Marlowe, who's left, and he's not found a club yet. Patrick Dibber and Mohamed Garber's now on that list, so well done to him. Up front, Spencer Drury, who's now our top goal scorer ever with 90 goals. He's ahead of Jack Young on 84 and ahead of Craig Palmer on 79. We've not got a player that's reached 100 goals yet for the club. Then on the bench, Grant Waugh, Stephen Dean's on the bench now, Dion Mills, Lee Orford, Larry Udder, Sean Halcroft, who I assume, yep, he's retired, and Brady Chick as well, he's still on the bench. Player of the oh my days! Danny Bye, player of the season, what is wrong with you? The game, why? Danny Bye was not good this year. He got a 6.80 average rating in the league, 6.87 in all competitions. What does he have to do? Like, how bad does he have to play to not be player of the season according to the game? The game is screwed up if it thinks he's player of the season. I know he's on the favoured personnel list, but that doesn't mean he's player of the season every year just because he's on that list. Come on. That's just really frustrating. Jonathan Edwards actually gets second despite only playing half the number of games compared to the rest of our team this season, and Patrick Dibber third. How is Craig Palmer not player of the season according to the game? He scored the most goals, he got the most assists, he got a much better average rating than Danny By. It's ridiculous. Anyway, in the comment section below, let me know. I'm not putting Danny By up for the Twitter poll because he doesn't deserve to be on that list. He wasn't good this year. He was a bit part player. He played here and there. I suppose he had to play in different positions. So, in a way, I can see why the fans might like him for the fact he's been versatile and done a job wherever he's required. But he was nothing special. And I love Danny By. I love him for what he's done to the club. He's the club captain. But he doesn't deserve player of the season. Rant over. Team of the season then. Fook, Charing goal. Stephen Dean, Fisher, By, Booty. Garber, Barber is on there, which is good to see. Dibber, Uda, Palmer and Drury up front. So Dupp is still the preferred front three from this season. Goal of the year then, Patrick Dibber. Let's have a look at this one. I can't really remember. This is not. How is this goal of the year? How is that goal of the year? most of the seasons it's been a decent goal, but I mean, it's not a bad goal. It's a good pass from Morford and a good finish from Dibber after running through. But it's not goal of the year. Come on. Oh dear. The game's got it wrong this year, hasn't it? Signing of the season is Mohamed Garber coming back to the club on a free. And young player of the year, Jonathan Edwards. He deserves that. Okay, I've got myself worked up for no reason really. This is always a very similar quote every year. Match of the season, 4-2 win against Brentford. Moment to forget, 4-1 defeat against Blackburn Rovers. And this was our average attendance, 5,206, 97% full. That's why I think we do need to get a bigger stadium. I forgot about Paul Latham. How did I forget about it? What is up with his mouth? Seriously. He looks like a slug. What? Leon Thompson, youngest ever player at one point, and also the first player to come through the academy to play any game. In fact, he's the only player to come through the academy to play a reasonable number of games. Joe Gordon, legend. I loved this guy at one point. He was one of my personal favourites. Ola Connolly, the fish and chip man. He's still around the club, of course. And Bradley Berry, he's still alive. He's not retired yet. Maybe he'll find a club. Stephen Bradley, backup keeper for a few years, wasn't he? Dion Mills. Oh, the memories are flooding back. Greg Winter, he retired. Gareth Sheriff has retired now, I'm afraid. He made over 100 appearances for the club. Richard Wilson, I don't believe it. He was bald at one point, but he's managed to have a hair transplant. Adam Fox was ginger at one point, but decided to dye his hair. And Grant Waugh, what a legend. What a legend. The class of 2018-19, that's what it's called. Congratulations on winning promotion this season. It's a great achievement, but we have to focus on staying up next year. And I'm convinced that with the right additions to the squad, we can avoid the drop. Let's say that. Yeah. Garber's pleased that we'll be strengthening the squad, and everyone else is pretty happy. Some players have actually got worse, but it didn't say that previously. Never mind. Anyway, the board are happy, as they should be. The fans are happy. I'm happy. I hope you're happy. Please hit the like button if you're happy. And we're gonna have to hunt hard for improvements to this squad. I'll obviously be trying to improve the youth team as well, as always, and anything else I can possibly improve, I will try and improve. Speak of the devil, we're going to be expanded by 835 seats. It's going to cost £1 million though. Come on, I could just go down to home base and buy a few seats and sling them on the snake pit. Never mind, we're going to be in even more debt now. It's only going to take 3 months to complete, so we'll be done by pretty much the start of the championship season. Part of the North Stand will be closed during the renovation, but wow, I hope the snake pit isn't destroyed, by the way. That would be bad. Dean asked, oh no, what's happened? Oh, he wants a better contract, that's fine. I will be offering contracts up to players over the summer. Some will earn more money, of course. What's going on here? The under-23s are making things really large. Yeah, some will get more money, some will have their contracts released. They'll be released. And, of course, we'll be trying to sign new players. The under-23s, and let's just have a quick look at this. Top goal scorer was Lee Orford in the under-23s. He was incredible. 25 goals this season in 26 starts and 7 sub-appearances. And he did okay for the first team when he came in. He scored 3 goals in the league and a goal in the Checker Trade Trophy as well. So he was important in that regards. Jack Young, second top scorer, still scoring at the under-23 level, which is good to see. I'll have to play him in one championship game, surely. He played one League One game this season off the bench. I know some of you are still disappointed he's not getting more first-team football, but I know probably 90% of you know that he shouldn't really be playing for the first team these days, and there is probably quite a high percentage of you that actually get annoyed when I do play him. That's what he's become. I know people comparing him to Harry Owen in Loki Doki series. I know about his series. As a lot of FM YouTubers will say, they don't unfortunately have the time to watch other big long-term saves. So I've watched the odd video here and there. I've watched the odd video of Dr. Benji series and a few other series out there. Lelujo as well. Work the Space. But I don't religiously follow those series because I just don't have the time to do that as well as do Regen Rovers. That's just a simple fact. But people have been comparing him to Harry Owen. I believe that's his name. I hope I haven't screwed that up and got that wrong. But yeah, Jack Young, legend of Regen Rovers. Oh, I love the guy. Brady Chick, 12 goals. And McGuigan played a few games for the under-23s this year. Basically a 1-in-1 record, 10 goals. Really, really good. So he does have quality. I just hope he can improve in the first team next season if he does play, for that matter. If we're only going to be playing one up front, maybe I need to sell quite a few of these strikers, because we're a team that has loads of strikers, because that's how we've played for many years. I guess we're just going to have to see what happens, decide what tactics to play next season. Let's just clear this. Do I go with this 4-3-3? It's slightly different to how it used to be. It's more of a counter tactic now. Do we go 4-4-2? Do we go 4-5-1? Do we go 4-5-1 with a defensive midfielder and be even more defensive in the championship? We're going to be really up against it. So Kachar has signed a new contract at the club. He's easily the highest earner now, with 2.9k a week. Stephen Dean is unhappy because I haven't offered him a contract. I thought he'd give me a bit more time. But yeah, here we go. Let's go straight into it. We're going to have to take a few things. I don't want him to go for stupid amounts of money. How much? He wants a 20% sell-on fee percentage, and I can't take that away. That's something he really wants. So he gets 20% of the money if I sell him. Bloody hell! Well, I'm going to get rid of these things then. If you're going to be that greedy, Mr. Stephen Dean. He didn't have that good a season this year, so you have to impress next year. Okay, let's see what he says. Oh, he wants a lot. 2.7. He only wants a 2-year deal as well. Okay, I can do that. 3.1, 2.9. Same as thingy, Kachar. He really wants 3.2. How about if I increase that to 600? I really don't want to have to do that, but there we go. 2.9 co-week, £600 appearance fee. We're going to we have to spend big money to keep our best players at the club. Commercial summary then. So our biggest shirt names being sold. Have we seen this before? I don't think we have. Palmer was top, Drury, Bai, Uda and Dibba. So those are the top 5 players this year. But things like competition prize money went down because I don't think we did as well in the Cups. Broadcast revenues have gone down. But other things have gone up. And we've suddenly gone up to £254,000, but we're going to lose a load of money when we build a new stand. And it's only increasing it by like 1,000 seats as well. Well, Stephen Dean has signed that contract then, which is important, I think. He didn't have the best of years this year, but I hope with better tactics next season, he'll be more solid and return to his form from his first year. Well, his second year at the club. First year at the club was fine. Second year was incredibly good. And obviously he broke into the Northern Irish team. He's now got 5 caps for his country. If a team wants to buy him, they're going to have to spend some money because he's now got a better contract. He's obviously still a very good player. He's an international as well. So if anyone wants to sign him, I don't know how much I'd accept, but it's going to have to be a fair amount. Excellent news, I've completed my Continental Pro license, which I think is the highest thing you can get. So I am actually a decent coach now, not bad going. I suppose you gradually just improve over time. 3-star reputation. My contract runs out next season. I could do with a better one soon, actually. And this is my career stats now. So I've played 524 games on this save, 216 wins, 182 draws, 126 losses, plus goal difference of 102. So that's pretty good going, isn't it? For 10 seasons at Regen Rovers, 41% win percentage. Actually, I do need to check these promises. I failed to increase first team football for Tim Green. He definitely played more games this season. Mohamed Garba, We'll play it in preferred position and roll. Yeah, I've been doing that, haven't I? Guillermo Diaz, apparently I need to try and sell him in the next 104 days. And strengthen the first team squad, Mohamed Garba, 104 days. Because I said that in the end of season talk, of course. So Diaz wants to leave. I need to try and sell him. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's worth 70 grand. I don't think we're going to get a huge amount of money for him. And he's not going to be good enough for the Championship, is he? He's a leading player for most National League sides, apparently. So it shows his level. He did really well for us for the first season in particular. Last year was quite average, to be honest. And this year he's played hardly any games. We've recorded a loss of £1 million for the last financial year. So £1.3 million maintenance costs. So that's how much we're paying for the increase in the stand, I presume. Yeah, £1 million ground maintenance. Investments £1 million to pay for the ground maintenance. I wonder if the board are going to sell the club, because why would they expand the stadium if they're going to sell up? Unless it's a requirement for the Championship, of course, and that's why they're having to expand the stadium. We've survived all these financial problems so far, haven't we? So I see no reason why we can survive this one as well. I've just realised the League One playoff final is ages away. It's 10th of June. What? Why? Why is it so long? I'm not continuing until that point, I'm afraid, guys, because it kind of takes away. I can't concentrate on pre-season if I'm just continuing until this point. So you'll find out who gets promoted as the playoff championships in episode playoff championships, playoff champions, playoffs. Who wins the playoffs to the championship? There we go. You'll find out in episode 101. But the championship playoffs have been played. So I don't know why it's been delayed so much. It's like it's been cancelled or something, because it's all the way on the 10th of June. Why? Why is it so far away? It doesn't make any sense. It's between Bradford and Preston anyway. But let's have a look at the other divisions then to see what has happened. We'll go from the top this time, in fact. Premier League, Man United are champions. Going down, Bristol City, Sunderland and Brighton and Hove Albion. So we will be playing those three teams in the Championship next season, along with some big Championship teams, in fact, because Watford are in there. West Ham are in there, the team I support. We're going to be taking on them. Leeds are still in the Championship. Bournemouth are in there. Wolves, Aston Villa. Going up though, Southampton, Derby and Stoke. So we won't be taking on those three teams. Coming down, Birmingham, Rotherham and Plymouth. I think they're the three teams that went up last season. So it's a shame that they are going down, because they would have been weaker opposition for us to take on next season. I fancy my chances beating Walsall. Certainly not going to be easy, whoever we take on next season. It's going to be very tough. And of course, from League One, where am I going? From League One, it's going to be Blackburn, Regen Rovers, and either Preston or Bradford. Accrington, Stanley, Doncaster, Wimbledon and Chesterfield relegated to League Two. League Two, Bury, Barnet and Mansfield Town were promoted, with Leyton Orient getting promoted from the playoffs, and Wrexham and Crewe Alexandra being relegated from the Football League. The National League was won by Grimsby Town, with Barry going up via the playoffs. So Eamon Lynch, who was at Oldham Athletic, did not experience a promotion, but he had a fantastic season, finishing second with them. Willstone, Chester, Stalybridge and Dover Athletic getting relegated. Up from the National League North was Halifax Town and Telford United. Kings Lynn, Chorley and Stafford Rangers relegated. And the National League South was won by Dartford, with Boreham Wood going into administration and getting relegated, as you can see there, along with Metropolitan Police and Hastings. Farnborough went up via the playoffs. So that's the story of every league in England that we can see. Thank you for your support in this 10th season. Some of you have stuck around the entire time, and I really appreciate that. Like I alluded to earlier in the episode, there are people that drop out as the series progresses, or maybe have a lot to catch up on, I suppose. But that's fine, that's just the way it is. Maybe they'll come back for episode 100, or maybe come back for the Premier League when we reach there. I'm sure we'll get there at some point. A few people have asked recently, what is the eventual aim? The overall eventual aim, I would love to dominate world football. Win the Champions League, win the World Club Championship, win the Premier League, of course. That's what we want to do. It might take a long, long time to get there, And we might get to the Premier League and it might take a few years for us to really affirm ourselves as a Premier League team and go on and push on for Champions League places. Because to get into that top 6 these days, you need a lot of money to improve the team. We're not going to be a top 6 team with the players we have right now. We'll hang on to a couple players, but most of these players, they're League One standard at best. So we might have to say goodbye to some of these guys, I'm afraid. I know you love them, and I love them too, and we'll have these memories with this fantastic squad of players. But there's going to be a lot of changes over the next few years to get to the Premier League and then try and sustain ourselves in the Premier League. That's just the way football is. We can't hang on to this quality. And remember, these players will get older. By the time we get to the Premier League, they might be in their 30s anyway. It's just recycling. You know, that's what life is, I suppose. Recycling. I do like a good recycle. Anyway, thank you for watching today's video. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And let me know your player of the season in the comment section below. Make sure you watch episode 100, guys. It's hopefully going to be good. It's going to be epic. Yeah.